didn't work out like I planned it. Don't go too far, I need you. What's going on, everybody? That's dirty. Alright, so what I got going on is we are damn near completely colonized with the grain jars. So this bucket is for hydrating and pasteurizing our substrate. This bucket will be for incubation and fruiting. I had to hook the hose back up, so there's still a lot of air back in it. So I'm going to give these a good wipe down, clean them all out, spray them with rubbing alcohol, give it a real good wipe down again, and then we're going to start pasteurizing some straw. What's going on, everybody? It's time. This is what we've been waiting for. Fully colonized grain jars. That used to be corn, feed corn, purchased from Tractor Supply, that we have turned into a nutrient source for our mushroom mycelium. So now that we got enough jars, and this isn't even all the ones I've colonized, and I may not even need all of these for my grow. I might have some extra, I don't know. But that's okay, because I can throw this in my fridge and it will last a year or more. So here's what we got going on now. We got fully colonized grain jars, and I got a nice clean 5-gallon bucket that's food grade. Most of the buckets you get from your local hardware store are food grade plastic. So I got it all washed out. Now I am going to spray with rubbing alcohol and give that a good soaking. We're going to let that sit for a minute, and after this is dry and wiped out, I am going to start, what am I doing? Oh yeah, I'm getting my pickling lime, which anybody can purchase from, I think pretty much any fucking grocery store in the canning department. Pickling lime is used for canning. It's also used for a lot of other things. Another name for pickling lime is calcium hydroxide, I think. Hold on, let me just double check on that. I was correct. Calcium hydroxide. Used in pickling lime and something, I don't know. But you want 100% pickling lime, which this is somewhere on here. It says it. But, yeah, so you want food grade calcium hydroxide, aka pickling lime, and this is what we will be using to make our straw, which is what I'll be using for the substrate. basic. As long as it's basic and not real acidic, we're not going to grow any mold. So 1 cup per gallon of water used. I'm going to use probably close to 5 gallons, so I'll use 5 gallons. 5 cups of pickling lime. Get this all diluted in cold water, and then I am going to submerge my straw in it for 24 hours. Alright, so I'm going to wipe the bucket out and fill it with cold water, and probably 4 gallons of cold water. I changed my mind. And the pickling lime, 4 cups of pickling lime, 4 gallons of cold water, and I got another bucket. We're going to stick right in this one, and I'll show you that in a minute. Alright, I just gave the bucket a good wipe down. Something I should mention is you want to wipe down the outside of the bucket as well to get rid of any mold spores or any kind of contamination that might be hanging out on the bucket. Well, alright, it's been a few years, and this is what happens when I try to go from memory. I forget, and I didn't write my tech down. I wrote a lot of other stuff down, but I didn't write down my tech for oyster mushrooms. So I added the first cup of my pickling lime, and I thought to myself, boy, that looks awfully milky. So I went back to the old interweb and couldn't find the exact answer I was looking for. And my question was, how much pickling lime do I add per gallon of water when making straw for mushroom substrate? And I keep finding a lot of different answers, but the one thing that most people are agreeing on is the pH needs to be around 12 or 13 in order to pasteurize the straw. So that's where I am at right now. Hold on a second here. Alright, so I got a pH test strip here. There's our chart, and it looks like the top 4 blocks all look like the same color in the camera, but trust me, they're not. So what I'm going to do now is very quickly, I'm trying to get the damn thing to face the light, so I will very quickly dip the pH test strip in here, come down as quick as I can to match it, because you have to get it within a few seconds, otherwise the color excuse me, the color will change. Alright, so here we go. Dip down here, and we are at 12. One more time here. Dip, race to the chart, and yeah, we're right between 12 and 13. So that's where we want to be. Next step, and if anybody does actually try this, I would go with about 2 tablespoons per gallon, not 1 cup of pickling lime per gallon of water. So yeah, I fucked that one up. It may be even 1 tablespoon. You can start off with 1 tablespoon per gallon, test it, and adjust from there. It's probably a lot easier than dumping water out of the bucket, putting fresh water in, re-stir, retest, dump more out, put more water in, re-stir, retest. Yeah, this is what I've been doing. So I put far too much in. 1 cup is way too much for even probably 6 or 7 gallons of water. Okay, so next step. Okay, so the next step is going to consist of me chopping the straw up into tiny little pieces with these scissors here and filling up the bucket. Fuck you, train. Filling up the bucket with chopped straw. The smaller we get the straw chopped up, the better yield we will have for our mushrooms. Alright, now that we got our lime water mixed up and ready to go, we got our bucket filled with chopped straw. The bucket is filled with holes on the side. So, we're going to put this bucket right inside the other one. nice and slow so I don't overfill it or overflow the bucket. And ultimately, I want 100% of this straw submerged. And I got something here to cut down an old lid. Oh, a little too fast. We need that water to come up over the top. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. And I need something to weigh it down. Anything will work. And in this case, the anything will be this little concrete frog mushroom statue thing. I gotta get 100% of that straw underwater. Done. So this is going to soak for the next 12 to 24 hours. I'll leave it for the 24. And after this is done, I can add my grain. Okay, so to summarize what I've done so far, because I know I've sent a lot of mixed messages throughout the last couple of videos. So starting from the beginning, we take our cow corn, fill a jar halfway, times however many jars you need. You wash the corn, you pressure cook that cow corn at 15 psi for a total of 15 minutes. Pull it out of the pressure cooker, jar it up, pressure cook it again for an additional 90 minutes. Add your grain to grain, add your liquid culture, add your agar, whatever you're going to knock up the jar with, you add it. Wait a couple weeks, about 2 weeks for it to fully colonize. All right, it's been a journey, but the day has come where we are inoculating some substrate. We got pasteurized straw. We have plenty of fully colonized grain jars. Right here we have 2 buckets. We have our fruiting vessel that's in a garbage bag. That garbage bag is down inside another clean bucket. Ultimately, if there's excess water in the straw, it's going to drip down into the bag. If I have to, I'll cut a hole in the bag and let it drip down into the bucket or drain it. The reason for the bag is because while the substrate is colonizing, it likes a high CO2 environment, although it does need some fresh air exchange. So every couple of days I'll be coming back and just opening up the bag, let some fresh air in. But let's get started. We're gonna make lasagna. Yeah, it's a little wet, but I drained it, squished a lot of the excess water out of it. We should be good to go. It's been a few years since I've broken up a grain jar. That smells so good. Anytime you open up a grain jar, you gotta smell it. Just for foul, strange odors. If it doesn't smell right, then it doesn't get used. So we got a layer of grain, layer of straw, or grain. That smells so good. It doesn't smell like the typical mushroom. You know, not what you get from the grocery store. Look at that. That is some eager mycelium. I forgot to break it up. But you did get a cool look at some grain before it gets broken up. The more grain you use, the faster your straw will colonize. Ultimately, you really can't use too much grain. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. I know you can use not enough. When I first got into it, I fruited a tub of mushrooms and I was having issues, but I did successfully get a tub to fruit. And somebody asked me, you know, what was the grain to spawn ratio? And I said, I don't know. I broke up a jar of grain and added it to the mix. They said, you only used one jar for the entire tote? I said, yeah. Nobody ever told me I had to use a bunch of grain. They're like, wow, I'm surprised you got any fruit out of there. Good job. Something else I'm looking for while I'm breaking it up is green contamination. Or any contamination, any kind of funky anything. If anything seems wrong, or just not sure, get rid of it. Don't even open it up in the house. Because if it's mold, those mold spores are just going to spread. Mold spores can live fucking forever. Just waiting for the proper host. No different than these. It's thick mycelium. Did I grab the right strain? Yeah, blue oyster. Okay. It's one of the reasons I wanted to use the bags instead of the jars. I could do one bag versus many jars. But mushrooms don't want to be in plastic, so I'm not putting them in plastic. That's fine. Again, we're just looking for contamination, anything that looks funky, like a cat. Cats in mycology, they don't usually mix. If this was any other tech, if I was doing any other strain of mushroom that required any other technique of preparation, this would not be done in my kitchen, out in the open air, where I got furry animals being nosy. That's who, no, that's Harvey. That was one of my mom's kitties. This cat turned 14 years old yesterday. Thank God it doesn't have any health issues. Looking good. Right, Harvey? You come out to supervise. Harvey's a good supervisor. He never tells me no. He never says, no, don't do that. That's dangerous. After I get this bucket full, it should take another, well, the more grain I put in it, the faster it will colonize. I'm hoping it won't take more than a couple of weeks. It might take a little longer though. Now, something you might see once in a while is this funky yellow liquid forming, little tiny droplets, which is called metabolites, which is mycelium P, basically. It's the mycelium eating up anything that's not good, really, ultimately, and kind of pooping it out, or peeing it out. This bucket is just about full. Which is good. And no, I'm not out of grain. I got a lot more grain jars than this. Sorry. Ultimately, I want extra grain jars because if this gets contaminated for some reason, or just doesn't work, I'll be prepared. And once the grain jars are colonized, they can be stored in the refrigerator for 6 months, a year. Because it was put away completely sterile. No different than anything you buy at a grocery store. Actually, the things you buy at a grocery store, I think canned goods are only pasteurized, not sterilized. Alright, we're going to put the last layer right on top here. Oh, great. Now the dog wants to come out. Don't forget to shake your head. Shake your ears and dander all over the place, puppy. I'll just squeeze any extra water out of here. The bottom's a little wet. Should be okay though. It'll drain to the bottom. Alright, so this is gonna incubate at no higher than 75 degrees, which is not a worry in my house. My house never gets to 75 degrees. Alrighty, so now I'm going to put a top on that. Then I'm going to put a lid on it. Hold on one second. I sprayed the lids with rubbing alcohol, and they've been soaking in the sink. Now I got to rinse them off with distilled water. Alright, so something I didn't mention that I probably should is the buckets. The fruiting vessel here and the bucket that it is sitting in were both sprayed with hydrogen peroxide to kill off any organic material. And then I sprayed the shit out of them with rubbing alcohol, let them soak in rubbing alcohol for a little while. Now I just rinsed all of the alcohol off and putting the lids on these. And I think I may have room for a mason jar to stuff in there, maybe. Will that fit? Yes, that will fit. Yes, this is an old used bucket. I was taking care of my buddy's ducks, and this is what I did water changes with. My buddy's kid was living with me at the time, so I had to write on the lid, hey, dickhead, don't set that thing down in duck poop, because it needs to come back in the house. All right. I will be back with that eventually. We'll take some sneak peeks here and there, because ultimately we'll be able to see what's happening inside. Through, come on, where is it? Through the holes in the bucket. But right now, we're going to let that sit in there. And I'm going to tie it off with a rubber band. I'm not actually tying the bag. I want to reuse it. Well, be able to use it for this entire thing. Run. Yeah, so that's it. I don't know why I'm uploading this shitty video with all the mistakes I've made, but once I start having some success, I will give you a quick rundown on all the proper shit to do. Ultimately, I still think I may have used too much pickling lime in there. The pH was around 12 or 13, I hope, and hopefully that's not too high, but I'll find out. All right, everyone. Much love. I appreciate you guys for sticking with me. And, yeah. Hopefully we have some beautiful blue oyster mushrooms here in the next 4 to 6 weeks. I don't even think it'll take that long, really. Like I said, I'm hoping the entire bucket will be colonized in the next 2 weeks. I used enough grain, I think, and everything looked extremely healthy when I put it in there. So the only thing I'm questioning right now is the pasteurization of the straw. I found another video when I was trying to look up how much pickling lime to use. Another name for pickling lime is hydrated lime and calcium hydroxide. But another video I found is from the man that throws that festival, Myco Fest, William Padilla Brown. And he was talking about adding a liter of hydrogen peroxide to the 5 gallons of water and straw and letting that soak for 24 hours. So that's a lot more specific than a lot of the mixed messages I found with the pickling lime. And as I said before, the dude who gave me the original tech for this is no longer around. He disappeared. All caps, I don't know where the fuck you went, but I kind of wish you didn't disappear, buddy. Like you'll ever see this. Alright, everyone. Much love. I will keep you updated on this and talk to you all soon.